What's up, guys? Mitchell Pelkey back with another episode of Pelk Talk. On today's episode, we have the Canadian goalie from Syracuse, Drake Porter. I met Drake last year at the Goalie Smiths camp, an All-American and a two-time starter. A lot of good laughs in this Pelk Talk podcast. Don't forget to listen on Spotify and Apple. Now, enjoy. Hey guys, Mitch Pelkey back again with another episode of Pelk Talk. Today, joined by Syracuse's starting goalie, Drake Porter. What's up, Drake?
What's going on? Happy to be here.
Where are you at right now? You your hometown?
No, I'm actually in right outside Syracuse at my girlfriend's house, Manlius, New York. I've been here since the lockdown started. They've been nice enough to house me, so it's been a good deal.
There we go. Well, I can remember meeting you actually for the first time this past summer at Goalie Smiths. You remember that at all?
I remember we never met name wise, but I thought I recognized you when you messaged me. And then I was now that I remember it, you held a camera in my face and you're like,
yeah, I want to
how are we doing at Goalie Smith?
That clip.
I had no clue what to say. I've never been.
Drake Porter, goalie for Syracuse here, and boys are hitting the ladders hard here, getting the feet chopping.
There you go.
Getting moving, get the blood flowing here, real important for the rest of camp.
You got a little merch too? How you feeling about the
got
shirt?
Got some merch, can't complain, a little XL, gotta have it baggy. little lid too, a little dad lid.
A little swag, I like that. There you go.
Definitely a nice care package when I showed up, can't complain.
Because I was looking at the video and I was like, God, I know I filmed him somewhere, and then I was listening to the Crease Dive, and you mentioned that you were at the Goalie Smiths. I was like, oh, that's where it is.
Yeah, dude, that's so funny. That they really did it up for that camp, man. That was unreal. You did a great job too with the video.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that was my first time going to one. I mean, sick camp, great idea. I mean, they had 133 goalies there.
Bro, it was wild. I've never seen so many goalies in my life. And just walking around the dorms, it was definitely a goalie camp. I've worked camps, but kids were so weird, dude. I was like, this is there's too many goalies in one spot. These kids are out of their minds.
Yeah. All right, let's start from the beginning. You kind of remember the first time you picked up a stick. When did you kind of get into lacrosse?
Yeah, for me, it was really young, just growing up in Canada. My brother played. He was a big hockey player, but he loved to play lacrosse in the summers because he saw that's what Gretzky did when he read a book about that. So that's how he got into it. And then, so when I was 3 years old, they had, I can't even remember, I think it was called peanut lacrosse or something, box lacrosse. So I started playing from the time I was 3, and I played box from when I was 3. And then I ended up quitting when I was 7 because I wanted to pursue baseball. Which was a stupid decision. And then I ended up picking it up later on in middle school. But yeah, I started playing box at 3 years old, had a stick in my hand.
Did any of your parents play, or is this kind of your brother?
My parents didn't play, no. They didn't really know much about lacrosse because my dad grew up downtown Toronto, and it wasn't really big there when he was growing up. But then I found out my great uncle was played in one of the original box leagues in Canada. My grandma found his stick in the basement, and I was like, oh, no way. This is unreal. I didn't think anyone else in my family played. So when I found that out, I was pretty stoked.
Yeah, so you grew up playing box. When was kind of the first time you played field?
It was middle school. I went to a new school. It was sort of a prep school in Canada, and I saw the guys playing lacrosse, but I saw these long sticks and stuff, and I literally didn't even know field lacrosse existed because it had been a while since I even played the game. And I saw the helmets, and I was like, oh, I played lacrosse before. I need to get one of those helmets. Those things look sick. I'm going to play lacrosse again. I'm not going to play baseball for the school. I'm going to play lacrosse because I want to wear this helmet. So that's what I ended up doing.
That's sick. So you said you grew up playing travel ball for Edge, right?
Yeah.
And when did you start playing with them?
So I started playing with them freshman year of high school. And I actually originally I played I was on the B team. Edge was a pretty elite travel team, and they launched a second team that was more developmental, and I didn't make the first team. A bunch of my buddies made the first team, which was definitely an ego check. So I played on the B team for that first entire freshman year, and then I finally made it to the A squad the next year.
Have you always been playing goalie?
Actually, when I started for the middle school team, I played out in box growing up, and then when I started with my middle school team, I played midfield, and then I was the youngest kid in the team. I was a 6th grader. I played midfield, defenseman got hurt. They put a pole in my hand, and they're like, "You're the youngest kid. Just play defense." And then the goalie got hurt, and they're like, "Okay, you're hopping in net now." So then from the end of 6th grade on, I was a field goalie, just like process of elimination. And then I just got like, I don't know, I liked it, and I kept playing. I was like the only kid willing to play. So I just, ever since then, it's been goalie.
So you just liked it that much? I mean, goalies, like, they all got that weird personality. You don't really seem like that, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people say I seem more normal, and then the more you get to know me, you realize I'm kind of a weirdo. So I definitely have a little bit of that like goalie, like freak personality. But honestly, it was like I went in, I didn't really have much of a choice. They threw me in. I got hit with like 3 balls, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, and you played unreal." Like after I just like didn't even move, like they just hit me in the helmet, like my arm. And I was like, "Oh, that hurt." And then they're like, "Yeah, they're the new goalie. Like, congrats." And I was like, "Great. Like, I guess I'll just work with this."
Sweet, yeah. What would you say is the most overrated Canadian thing? Is it like Tim Hortons, the ketchup chips? Because a lot of the Canadian boys on our team always talk about the ketchup chips, and I've personally never tried them. But what would you say?
I mean, Tim Hortons, I can't say that's overrated because, like, I'm there every day in the summer when I'm in Canada. But I let me think. What's like a Canadian thing? Poutine. I think poutine's overrated because you can't really like have it that much. Like, it's not really like a food you can have regularly. And I don't even think like I've had good poutine, and I'm just like, okay, it's just like fries with gravy. Like, I don't think it's like revolutionary, but you'll hear Canadians like come down and they'll be like, "Oh, bro, like poutine." And I'm like, there's no way you even like it that much. Like, no one in Canada likes it that much. It's just like this big show. So that's one thing I think is definitely overrated for sure.
What would you say is something you miss being at Syracuse that you can't get because it's only in Canada?
Ice caps. Tim Hortons ice caps. There's no Tim Hortons in Syracuse. It's like, so you know Frappuccinos from like Starbucks?
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's like less sweet. And like, it's for some reason, it just tastes completely different from Tim Hortons. Ice cappuccino. And like, I probably in the summer, I have like a medium ice cap a day, at least, maybe 2. And like, that's like so much of my bank account because they're like $4 each. And like, I'll be spending like guaranteed $4 a day, just ice cap a day. Like, it's unreal. Like, there's one in Rochester, and like if we drive through Rochester for whatever reason, like I gotta stop at Tim Hortons to get an ice cap. Like, it's like a must.
It's a must. I love that. So then you attend IMG. Did you go there for 4 years, or did you go to another high school?
I went to St. Andrews in Canada for 3 years. Went to IMG. I wasn't recruited at the time, so I was intending on doing IMG for 2 years, senior year, and then a post-grad year. And then that summer before I went to IMG, committed to Syracuse, and they told me I didn't have to take a post-grad year. I could get the same scholarship money to just go right away. And IMG wasn't too stoked about it because I think they wanted me for 2, but I was like, I definitely gotta, save my family a little money here, and I'll go after 1. But yeah, it was just 1 year at IMG, but it was really cool. It was a decision I made. It was a lot of it was recruiting at the time, but part of it too is I wanted to play like the best high schools. I wanted to play against the Hill Academy, and them. Just if I'm going to Syracuse, like I got to start seeing the best shots early.
Did the Hill ever pop into your mind? Did you ever want to go there?
Actually, yeah, it was me and Kyle Hebert, who's now at Stony Brook. We were both the edge goalies, and we were both looking at like the prep school option for our like senior years. And he was like, "Okay, I think I'm gonna go to the Hill." And I was like, and he was like always kind of the better goalie in our club team. And I was like, "Dude, I'm not going to the Hill to like sit behind this kid again. Like, I gotta figure anything else out." So the Hill, like, I talked to him a bit, but I was like, me and Kyle kind of decided like, okay, you're going to the Hill, I'll go to like IMG or like a prep school or something. Like, I'm not sitting behind you.
Yeah. What other prep schools were you looking at?
I talked to Avon Old Farms. That was like a big one. Trinity Pauling. But a lot of those schools, like, it was the same deal. Like, they had goalies who had been starting for a couple of years who were committed to wherever. So it's kind of like, at the time I wasn't committed. And then IMG really needed a goalie, and that worked out financially. So that ended up being the spot I chose, and I definitely don't regret it. Year in Florida was pretty nice.
Yeah, for sure. Was that a big adjustment, kind of being away from home for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I never really saw myself as a guy to get homesick. Like, I always did away camps when I was a kid. I never really had a problem. Like, not that I don't love my family or anything, but then there was definitely like going to IMG. I kind of like a couple weeks in, I started getting pretty homesick. Because it wasn't like I could drive or have my parents visit me. Like, it was an expensive flight away, so they would
Yeah.
They didn't even want me visiting like home too much. So it was definitely an adjustment, but I think the guys there were at the time, Tohoka, like Ben French and all those guys were so nice and like welcoming. And so after those couple weeks, I ended up adjusting. But
So you said Tohoka. What was it like playing with him, and what was he like off the field?
Tohoka's like a pretty quiet guy. I know he's got like a big like social media presence and everything, and he's definitely like a big personality. But in sort of day-to-day life, like he's just pretty chill. He likes to sit around, likes to play video games, and then on the field, he's pretty creative, and he definitely knows a lot about lacrosse too, and he's not afraid to let you know if he thinks you're doing something dumb. I remember that. Like I would do something, and he'd be like, "Why are you doing that, you idiot?" And I'd be like, "Oh, okay, sorry." So, but no, he was a beauty, man. He was definitely like he beat to his own drum or whatever the phrase is. He did his own thing. I always respected that about him.
Yeah. So you said back to the recruiting process. You played with Edge throughout your high school career, and that summer going into your senior year, you committed to Cuse, but playing with the Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like super late. Were you before? Because you're pretty young now. Were you before the early recruiting rules?
Yeah. So I committed my freshman year.
Yeah. So like I was the same deal where Edge was like, we had a pretty sweet team at the time. Justin was the first commit on our team. I remember
Really?
funny story about Justin the Fogo is we all thought like we didn't know face-off guys were valuable. And Justin like wasn't a great player, but he would like obviously win a lot of face-offs.
Yeah.
And we would make fun of him and be like, "Oh, you can't even play lacrosse." And then he's the one who commits to Ohio State, and we're all just like, "Wait, what? Like, how did this happen?" He's one of the worst players on our team. Like all he does is take face-offs. Turns out face-offs are pretty important.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, all those guys were getting picked up, and I was like one of the last uncommitted kids on my team, that Edge team, which was pretty brutal. And then I wasn't even sure if I was going to keep trying to get recruited. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to play Edge that summer before going to IMG. I was like, I'll just play at IMG, and someone wants me, they want me. And then I kind of at the last minute decided like, all right, I'm going to do one more summer. And then it worked out because that's when I picked up like all my offers. I had 0 offers going into the summer, and then all of a sudden I had like 4. So it worked out for me. I'm happy I did it. But yeah, it was definitely, it was very empty for me those first few years playing for Edge.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Justin, have you ever seen that guy run? I mean, he has the worst running form ever, and we always bust on him.
Those like he's like bow-legged, but like I don't understand how
with the hands and the knees.
A huge hockey player, and he's just like the most aggressive. Yeah. Like, oh my god, dude.
Funny kid,
just
though.
Good rip kid. On Justin.
So during the recruiting process, what were the other schools you were looking at?
Yeah, so before that summer, I was talking pretty seriously with Colorado Mesa, who's a D2 school. They had sort of seen me randomly. They saw my high school play, even though we weren't like a top high school. And then, so I was talking to them. I was close to committing actually. And then my first offer was Binghamton, and then Loyola, and then Providence. And then because John Galloway was coaching at Providence, as soon as I got that offer, obviously John Galloway is associated with Syracuse. The Syracuse coaches gave me the offer to play for them. I guess kind of poached me from Galloway there. But and those were my 4 offers I got. And it was tough because I knew I wanted to play for Galloway. He was a guy I looked up to forever, but I wasn't sure how long he was going to stick around there as an assistant. And I made the right call because he ended up at Jacksonville like a year later. Yeah. And he even said to me on the phone when I committed to Syracuse, he was like, yeah, man, like if there's one school I can't be mad about you going to, it's Syracuse, because I literally chose to go there. So
yeah,
best of luck.
That's good. So then kind of coming towards the end of your high school career at IMG, coming into Syracuse, not being ranked, did that ever bother you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I definitely was paying attention to the rankings. Like I knew exactly where I was. I felt like me and my goalie partner, because we were both Canadian, and then there's Kalen Bullen, who played at Cornell. He's another goalie in sort of our year, and none of us were ranked. And I always felt like Canadian goalies were, they rank the Canadian attackmen, and they rank them really high. And obviously Justin got ranked pretty high. But, they kind of just ignored the goalies. And I was like, I thought we were really good. And, I definitely had that chip on my shoulder. And, going in, and I knew Syracuse, I was going in with a bunch of ranked kids. So I knew I'd have to, work that much harder because the coaches are already going in oh, this kid's an All-American. What are you? Who are you? Type thing. So I knew I'd have to, prove it a little more, I guess.
Yeah. So getting there to Cuse, that first fall, your freshman year, did it feel like home from the start?
Yeah, I think so. I think my grade especially was kind of a really tight knit group. We loved hanging out with each other. We're gonna be friends for life. And then the upperclassmen, the fifth years were really welcoming, and just in general, for me, Syracuse, it being so close to Canada, it really did feel like home. A lot of so many kids from upstate. The upstate kids are similar to Canadians, huge beauties. I definitely loved it. I loved it from the start. Yeah, I never really thought about leaving even when I wasn't playing. I loved it.
Yeah. So what was kind of that first aha moment, your freshman fall, kind of realizing I can't do this or this isn't high school ball, I got to step it up?
Yeah, it was I'm trying to remember. I think one night me and my buddies were just messing around, and we played Xbox, and we're just messing around in the dorms until we pretty much stayed up all night. And then we had morning lift at 7:30, and I had running on 3 hours of sleep. And I'm just after a big Xbox binge. And then I showed up just so tired. And then I had to go through a day of classes because it was mandatory attendance. I couldn't skip even if I wanted to. And then I went to practice that afternoon and just got absolutely shredded because I was just so exhausted. And the coach was like, "Oh, Porter, what are you doing? Late night, all this stuff." And I was like, "Oh my God." And then I was like, "Bro, it's not high school. Every practice matters. I can't just show up and get shelled. These guys are all ripping on me. What's going on?" So I think that was the big moment of I can't just mess around and take a practice off and suck for a day. Otherwise, it's just going to be, people are going to remember that. So that was the big sort of moment for me of you can't show up at 50% because you're going to get absolutely lit up by these guys.
Yeah, I love that. So not really playing a lot your freshman and sophomore year. Do you think that really kind of helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah, I think I kind of took that as, I was so, not that I was bitter or anything with the coaching staff, but I was just so mad I wasn't on the field. I wanted to play so bad. And it was all I thought about. And I kind of pushed me to work, harder than I'd ever worked in my life. I'd never really cared about the weight room. I never cared about that stuff before. And I always just kind of was oh, I'm not a practice goalie. Oh, I don't really like shoot arounds. And then all of a sudden I was well, I need to get better, fast if I want to play here. Because, we have a lot of goalies and it's not you get on the field easy. So yeah, I think it was good for me because it kind of forced me to work harder than I'd ever worked in my life because I knew I would have to if I want to get on the field.
Yeah. What would you say you were most nervous for? Which college game?
My first start against Colgate, my junior year, I was so nervous. I was oh my God, here we are. I finally got my shot here after 2 years of work. If I blow this, it's going to be absolutely brutal. So we ended up losing that game. I played pretty well, not to toot my own horn. Not that it matters because we lost, but we lost against Colgate. And I remember I was in my bedroom after I was my first, nothing against Colgate, but it's, historically we always beat them and they were our opener. It was supposed to be an easy win. And, I'm sitting in my bedroom after oh my God, my first start as a Syracuse goalie, and I'm the goalie who lost to Colgate. What a great start to my playing career here. Could be short-lived. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So what's the whole idea behind BBB on the throat guard and cleats?
I get this question a lot and I never really know how to answer it, but basically what happened was I was a big fan of LaMelo, Lonzo, and the whole, when that mania happened that one summer, oh yeah. And LeVar was the funniest thing I've ever seen. The guy was just going on every talk show, just talking nonsense.
Crazy,
and I was obsessed
crazy
with it.
takes.
Yeah, so I bought Chino Hills LaMelo Ball jersey, and I was just all over. I thought the whole thing was unreal. And then, I was thinking about what I could put on my throat guard one day because I saw a lot of guys had stuff written in tape on the throat guard, and I was damn, if I did it, I would want to do something kind of funny because I'm a backup, I could put a little funny thing there. And then I realized oh my God, the Big Baller Brand logo is the perfect length. So I put it on my throat guard. I drew it on. My major is advertising, so I have to draw a ton of logos for like my mock-ups. So I was pretty good at it. I made a pretty good logo, and then like the whole team was like making fun of me for it. And then when I took it off, they made fun of me even more because they're like, "Oh, you're so soft. You couldn't even like keep the logo on. You got chirped a little bit." So I was like, "All right, like I'll keep it on forever." And then I started like playing, and I was getting all these messages. Like every team we play, I get chirped like, "Oh, big baller," and I'm like, "Dude, it's a joke. Like I swear." Like,
yeah, calm down, buddy.
So yeah, it's like a part of who I am.
Yeah, you keep it forever now.
I have to now, yeah. I was like, and I actually thought, because I didn't know, like, obviously, if I was going to be back at Syracuse or if I was going to try to make a pro roster. And I was like, if I make a pro roster and, like, I'm playing pro lacrosse, am I going to be allowed to have this on? Like, are they even getting, like, mad at me because they're not a sponsor? Like, until someone shuts it down, I'll always have it on any helmet I wear. Guarantee that.
So what's the deal with the chin strap? Like the orange, bulky football chin strap?
Yeah, so I don't know if you can see it on the camera here, but it's not a style choice. It was actually
I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, I don't think it looks that bad, but I hated it at first, but I kept cutting my chin because I'd get hit in the face with a ball. For some reason, the regular chin strap would like give me a cut there, so I had like a few scars. And then like my trainer was like, "You can't be wearing this chin strap anymore. Clearly, it's like it's not good for your chin, so we're gonna get you a football one." And I put it in, and I was like, "Oh my god, bro!" Like I was a freshman fall. I'm like, this is such a nightmare. Like the whole team's making fun of me. I was like, dude, like this is brutal. Like I don't want to be wearing this anymore. And then like I guess I got used to it. I don't know. I'm not huge on the look. I don't think it looks too bad, but like, yeah, no, not by choice. They made me do it, and they still make me do it.
Yeah, that's like same with us. A kid on our team, Jack Myers, an attackman, busted up his chin. He's got to wear the same football one because it keeps it so it doesn't keep getting cut. We're always busted on him now.
Yeah, it's so like dude.
What are your thoughts on Chase's rap skills?
Chase Scanlan?
Yeah,
dude.
You think he's got it? Because I was listening to a couple songs.
So like I remember he came in hot. And someone made a joke because we were in Placid. It was my first time ever meeting him, like face to face. And someone made a joke about how he rapped, and he was like, "Oh, you guys want to hear it?" And I heard it, and I was like, at first I was like laughing, like, "Oh, like what, like kid raps?" And then I started listening. I was like, actually not bad. If he could, like, I don't know, whenever lacrosse, I guess, stops for him, if he dedicates some serious time, he's got some potential there. I see it. I'm not a huge rap guy, but I definitely see it.
Yeah, there we go. Is he ever like freestyling around the locker room or no?
Not too much. He doesn't freestyle in the locker room. The most I've never heard him freestyle live. He'll play his music sometimes, but I've never heard him freestyle live.
Okay. So on April 16th, you went to Instagram and posted that you're not leaving, you're coming back for that 5th year the NCAA gave the seniors. Was that a hard decision?
To be honest with you, the only thing that was hard about it was how much we didn't know. For a while, because like the NCAA came out with the statement, but then they said they weren't making a decision for a month. So then there was a month where I was sort of in limbo and I had time to think. And then, we didn't know how the funding was going to work. Are we going to be able to get scholarships? So that was when it was tough, is like, am I willing to pay for this year? And then finally it came out that we were getting scholarships. And as soon as that came out, it was like, okay, no brainer. I got to go back. Like, this is, I got robbed of this senior year where we were doing really well. I got to go back and try to, do it again. And I think the Syracuse fans, we owe them a championship. And if we can give it to them, that's something we got to do. So for all of us, I think it was a pretty easy call.
What about, did transferring ever come to your mind?
No, that was never, to me, transferring was never really an option. That was like, I can't, like, especially with how much Syracuse has given me and like how much I've enjoyed in my jersey, I couldn't see myself like wearing another college's jersey kind of no matter what. So I was thinking like, I'm either going to go try to play professionally or I'm just going to like go back to Syracuse. Like there's really no option for transferring. I don't blame other guys for doing it, but just me personally, it was never really an option.
Yeah. So like you said earlier, talking about John Galloway and now kind of being in the same conversation as him, how does that make you feel? You said you looked up to him when you were young.
Yeah.
Now kind of being resembled to him.
Yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't put myself in the same conversation as him, but I've definitely like, it's very cool being able to kind of live out, it was always my goal was to do what he did, you know what I mean? Like, and I want to go coach after this, cause I saw him coaching, and I kind of like modeled out my little career after him, cause he was the first goalie I ever really watched and looked up to. So to be able to play in a Syracuse uniform and play well, and to even have people like mention us in the same sentence, it means a lot to me, and it's something that I can sometimes be a little bit too proud of. I don't want to be like too complacent or whatever, but I'm definitely proud of it, and I think it's something that's really cool.
Yeah. So plans for next year, have you thought about it yet?
You mean like after I graduate?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to coach. I definitely I had a couple offers to be a graduate assistant when I thought before the season was going to end, and then like now everything kind of got thrown up in the air. But I'm definitely going to try to coach, and definitely going to try to play professional lacrosse. Wherever I can get a shot, and that's sort of my plan for after. I really like coaching. It's something I'm passionate about, and if I could do that, that'd be awesome.
Would you want to do both, or is it kind of one or the other?
I would definitely try to do both. Yeah, I think it's really doable. Like a bunch of pro guys do it. Like Galloway does it. So I think and especially now, I think programs really want, professional lacrosse players because it can help with recruiting. If a kid recognizes a guy from like a PLL or MLL game, like maybe they'll want to go to that school and play for him a little more.
Yeah. Would you want to stay in Division I or no?
I'd be open to Division III. I mean, I'm not really like a Division I elitist, so to speak. If it's a good program and I think it's a good fit, and especially for me, I want to learn from a really good head coach. And there's so many good head coaches at all divisions. The Cortland head coach, for example, he's a really, really strong guy, a lot of history there, and that program like that, I'd be happy to. But I mean, obviously, the dream is to coach Division I. But I'd definitely be open to learning under coach at one of the other two divisions.
It's kind of the end goal to be a head coach somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the end goal for sure. Obviously a lot of time and work between now and then, but that's definitely the goal.
Okay. And I got to ask, what's the obsession with Mountain Dew?
It's like, it's another thing that kind of started as a joke, but like, it really isn't a joke. Like I've been, especially this quarantine, I've been drinking like a Mountain Dew every day, but like, it just, I don't know what it is about it. It's always been my favorite soda. It's just like so good. I don't know. Like we always joke around. It's like we have a few of us called the Dew Boys. It's like me, Jacob Buttermore, this kid Jake Nelson, and then we got a freshman this year in on it, Michael Page, and we like are always just sipping Dew. Like I don't know what it is. It tastes delicious. They got all the flavors, so you can mix it up. Maybe a Code Red, a Voltage, Baja Blast here and there. It's just you can't beat it. It's best soda around.
Okay. And I was doing my research as well, and it says after every season you get a haircut. Is that just something you've always been doing?
Yeah, I think it's just like I don't like cutting my hair mid-season. Like I obviously want it long, and then at the end of the season it'll be so long, and I'm just like I gotta get this cut. And I don't like getting my hair cut for whatever reason. I just hate sitting there, so I try to get it cut pretty short, like decently short, so that I can only get like 1 or 2 haircuts a year. That's normally the plan I roll off of.
Okay. So kind of rolling to our last section here called Quick Talk. I'm going to hit you with a word or a phrase and kind of give me a quick response.
Okay.
Ready?
We'll see what I can do. Yeah.
All right. First one, food.
Grilled cheese.
Okay. Fastest shot.
Jared Newman.
Biggest chirper.
Tanner Cook.
Okay.
North Carolina.
Okay. If not Syracuse, then?
Denver.
Okay. Mid-calves all the time or only on the field?
All the time.
Really?
All the time. No matter what.
Okay.
My mid-calf tan is off the charts. Best college memory, let me think. Duke overtime last year.
Yep. Best teammate you've ever had?
Jake Nelson, my best friend.
Okay. Funniest guy on the team?
Danny Borello, face-off guy.
Who will turn out to be the best ball brother?
LaMelo, easily.
You think?
Dude, he's that Lonzo's like he doesn't have that like killer mentality. Like LaMelo's like not afraid of anything, and then LiAngelo's like LiAngelo.
Yeah, he blows.
Yeah, he's the Kevin Jonas of those brothers.
Syracuse lacrosse.
Grit.
Okay. So you're 21 now. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
PLL All-Star,
Okay.
offense or defensive coordinator, Division I.
Okay, I like that. Sweet. Well, Drake, I really appreciate you coming on here. Where can the fans find you at?
You can find me at Drake Porter 33 on Instagram, Drake Porter 33 on Twitter. I try to keep it updated. I do the best I can. Try to pump out that sweet content. You know
Love
the deal.
Love
yeah,
that.
that's where you can find me.
Sweet.
I gotta
We'll
get
follow
on
him
YouTube,
there.
man. I gotta get it going.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll follow him there. And Drake, once again, I really appreciate coming on Pelk Talk.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's been a pleasure.